Okay, I'm here today with Peter Aziz, who is a shaman. Hello Peter.
Hello.
Would you like to give us some background as to how you got started in shamanism?
Well, I started when I was about 8 years old because my grandmother was a village witch from Hungary, and also at the time I got interested in yoga, so I was doing a mixture of things. When I started practicing yoga, my grandmother also interested me to talk to nature spirits and so on, and to do some healing.
So what's your definition of a shaman then?
Shaman is somebody who works in close contact with the spirit world and with nature to bring about healing.
So it's more than just a herbalist?
No, yes, it's a lot more.
What was involved to enable you to work with the spirit world?
Well, it's about becoming clairvoyant, learning to communicate with spirits.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite natural to a child who is still very open.
Okay, so you worked with your grandmother for the first few years?
Yeah.
And then I believe she died when you were maybe 13, 14?
Yes, I can't actually remember exactly when she died, but she introduced me anyway.
Uh-huh. And just your natural interest, where did that lead you after that to develop your knowledge?
All over the place. Wherever I sort of met any shaman, I went training. First I went to New Mexico to train with Pueblo Indians. Then I've been to Hawaii to train with kahunas. Then into the Amazon jungle to train in ayahuasca. Been to Haiti to train in voodoo. And to Indonesia to train in tenagadam.
Okay, so each of those particular ones, would you mind breaking them down and telling us what you learned in each one?
Mm-hmm. Okay, with the Pueblo Indians first of all, it was a kind of trance journey to the underworld, but also beyond to the upper world and back to the divine essence, and using sacred sound. So you use methods of releasing emotional and mental blocks and negative energies from a person. And yeah, so that was all about trance work and journeying. With the kahunas, we learnt this point holding system, where we press points in the body to release genetic memories. So it can be not only traumas from your own life, but from your grandparents and so on. And that way we cleanse the genes of all the negative imprints, and it also changes the body.
Mm-hmm. And then the next one?
After that, it was in the Amazon jungle doing ayahuasca.
And what is ayahuasca?
It's the death vine. It's a vine that grows in the Amazon jungle that brings about great cleansing. It gives you visions as well. It makes you a bit sick as it purges the body, but then it also clears all your negative thought patterns out. Again, like the point holding, it brings up all kinds of suppressed emotions to bring out healing.
So there's a long tradition use of ayahuasca in the Amazon, and
Yes.
then the shaman, do they carry a lineage there?
Yes, it's been going on for many, many years there.
Okay, so it's not really a lineage, it's just that's what they do.
But
there is a shaman in the tribe, so you got invited to learn from them.
Yep.
They recognised you as being a shaman yourself.
Yeah, so lots of people go out there to actually do ayahuasca, but then very few of them actually then train to become shaman.
And how long did you spend living with these people?
I just went there for a month at a time. It's just like now and then, every few months.
Okay.
Maybe twice a year to spend a month there, over about 4 years.
Okay. And what about the voodoo? Because voodoo's got a bad reputation generally. Can you explain a bit about what voodoo is?
That reputation was created by the Christian Church simply because they were actually funding the slave trade, and they used the kind of dark reputation to excuse it. But it's not much different from, say, the Red Indians. It's a very earthy religion. They celebrate the earth. They are working with the spirit world in order to actually improve their lives. Mm-hmm. And so their ceremonies are calling various spirits called Loa to look after them, to make the plants grow, to heal them, bring in love, and bring prosperity.
So how did you end up going there? Did you just go off your own accord, or you came and done a course there?
Yes, it was kind of a long story in a way, because there was a point in my life when all the other magic I was doing seemed to stop working. There was a new challenge and I needed something new. Okay. And there's actually a voodoo priestess in New Orleans who gave me a reading and said basically I was being called by the Loa, that's the voodoo spirits for initiation, and they weren't going to let go until I did it, and that's why everything was being held back.
Alright. So you went there, and did they just invite you, or did you request to be trained by them?
Well, I contacted somebody over there and they welcomed me and they said yes, the spirits have chosen me, therefore they would initiate me.
Okay. And you mentioned one other one.
A couple yes, after that there was in Indonesia an art called tenagadam, which is it's the shamanism in that region, which is using certain prayers and breathing techniques to bring in divine energy. They used to build invulnerabilities, they can't be harmed by knives and things, but it becomes really good for healing as well.
Mm-hmm. So with all this knowledge, when you've been doing these trips to various places, you've also been teaching people and healing people.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that most of your adult life?
Yes, ever since I was 8.
Since you were 8 you've been actually practising shamanism and healing
everything
people?
I learned, all practice as I go along, yeah.
Alright. And so you've got like a small community of people close to you now who come to you?
Not necessarily close by now, it's from all over the place. There's people who come regularly from all over the world, really.
Mm-hmm. And on your website you offer various courses.
Yes.
What are the courses that you offer?
I'm basically teaching all the different forms of shamanism I've learned.
Okay.
We start with the basic work with the tree spirits and with the journeying and the kuna point holding, and then later with the magic courses as well to teach people how to change the reality.
So you're not necessarily holding any information back then, you're willing to share all your
Yep.
knowledge?
Yes.
And what do you think shamanism's place is in the world today? Do you believe it's, obviously it's valuable, but...
It's very important because so much of the spiritual points are being lost in this world, and people are lost without those. Nothing is working without it.
Mm-hmm.
Medicine has become so specialised and so physical and denying the spirit that nobody's getting better.
So
People are caught up in materialism and to make money out of drugs, and it's like nobody's really healing.
Mm-hmm.
Without the shamanism, it's like they're lost.
So you're basically saying the whole medical profession is treating the symptom and not the cause?
Not even that is geared towards profit, and therefore they actually make the drugs to be more addictive all the time. They don't want a healthy nation, they want a drug-dependent nation for their profits.
So that description would give thought to there's people out to do harm. Then the drug industry is out to harm people on purpose.
Quite often they do, because if they spread disease, they get more profit in the end.
Like the cancer business is basically don't want to find a cure for cancer.
No, they make more money keeping things exactly as they are.
Would you mind telling us about your experiences with regard to healing cancer and the trouble you've had with the authorities over this?
Well, yes, I've been healing cancers regularly for over 20 years, and it responds very well to the natural medicine if you combine it with the shamanism to actually work on the spiritual and emotional causes of problems. And while I was doing it quietly, there was no problem. Once it appeared on TV that showed my patient who was cured, I had no end of persecution by the medical profession.
And so you've had the police at your door, or
Yeah.
you've had over this?
I had trading standards telling me to take all mention of cancer off my website. Police arrested me, or without a charge, it was on suspicion.
Mm-hmm. And yet many people have come to you and they would claim you were the person that healed them from cancer.
Yep.
And how does that healing take place? You mentioned the emotional body. What do you
Same
do?
as anything else, we don't in natural medicine as well as in shamanism, we don't actually focus on curing a disease. We are treating a whole person. If that person releases all their inner conflicts, so their toxins, their emotional blockages, and so on, the whole body regenerates. So each person is individual. I'm not treating a cancer, I'm treating a whole person. So it's no different from treating anybody else.
But when somebody comes to you with a particular kind of cancer, you don't just do a general whole body healing. Do you focus in on that person's cancer and there's a specific points
I'm
to
not
help?
just focusing on the cancer, no. Always look at the iris to diagnose, to actually see where the blockage is in their body.
Could you explain that again, please?
Okay, the iris shows, it's like a map of the whole body. It shows which organs, which glands have got lesions in them, shows where toxins are stored. And so when you look in the iris, you can actually see what's behind the illness.
So like the eyes are the window of the soul in real terms then? And the body as well?
There are two people with a cancer might have two different causes. So you can't give the same treatment.
Okay.
So we're not treating with the cancer itself, we're treating the whole person. When a person's vital energy is raised enough, they'll cure themselves of the cancer.
Okay. So we're here today we're doing a point holding fortnight.
Yes.
And how does the point holding work? Can you explain this process to people?
Yes, you see all the emotional patterns, all the suppressed traumas are stored in the cells of the body. And there are trigger points in the body that when you hold them, those traumas begin to release. So sustained point holding you might hold for 2 or 3 hours at a time while putting the higher energy in, and it flushes out all these emotional blockages so people remember their traumas, they release the emotions. When they do that, the body changes, the Kundalini rises, the body burns, and it regenerates.
That's very interesting. So it's a way that if people learn these techniques, we could actually heal each other. Friends and family can get together.
Yeah, people even healing themselves.
So releasing these emotional, suppressed emotions is actually healing the physical body.
Yes.
Because the physical body gets ill through the fact that these emotions are suppressed.
That's right.